You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good morning, everyone. I am HDC Director Connie Leiden, and before we formally begin, I'd like to note I will temporarily serve as the acting chair of this meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. I'd like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast. Before we continue, I would like to welcome the new members of our board who were recommended to serve by Governor Hochul: Joan Kestner, Sam Capitano, and Leslie Zemski. Welcome. We are so happy that you'll be joining us. On the board's behalf, we know that you will be tremendous assets as we move forward. We welcome public comment on today's agenda items. I will note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 9 o'clock today. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public. I also note that we do not have members of the public attending today's meeting. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has potential conflict of interest with respect to the agenda. If so, I would ask you please to make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourselves from any discussion or vote regarding such item. Hearing none, in furtherance of her appointment, in accordance with the corporation's bylaws, I will now ask the directors to designate Joan Kestner as the chair of the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation.
Thank you, Connie, and I will read the board materials, but first I'd like to again welcome our new members, Joan, Leslie, and Sam. It's great having you on board, and really look forward to working with you and on this committee. So as we move forward with our first item, in accordance with Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation bylaws, all the directors of ECHC are appointed by the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development, as sole shareholder, based on the recommendation of the governor. The governor has recommended Joan Kestner as a member of the ECHC board and has recommended her be cited as chair of ECHC's board of directors. Accordingly, on October 18th, 2023, Joan was formally added to the corporation board. Joan is very familiar with the ECHC and the projects that have undertaken at both canal side of the Buffalo Outer Harbor. She was formerly the Regional Director for Western New York. And Joan and I actually in that position met a number of times talking about the projects we have both at Canal side and the Outer Harbor. Western New York native, Joan previously served, as I mentioned, the Regional Director and the liaison to the Governor's Office, and has served also in local government and county government as well. So pursuant to the bylaws of the corporation, the chair of the corporation is designated by the directors. It is proposed that Joan Kessner be designated as chair of the corporation, replacing our previous director, Robert Joya, who served in that chair position for 12 years. So the requested action at this time is directors designate Joan Kessner as chair of ECHTC effective immediately.
I'm going to get a motion. I will enthusiastically second that motion.
Is there any questions?
Are there any questions or any other comments from the directors? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regards to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Congratulations. I will now turn our meeting over to the newly designated chair, Joan Kessner.
Thank you, Connie, and distinguished board members for your vote of confidence as I accept the chairmanship of the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation. I'm honored and grateful for the support of our esteemed Governor Kathy Hochul for placing trust in me once again to be a member of this board. I know how much she loves Western New York and her desire to develop a world-class waterfront. Also, I would like to thank the former president of the ECHDC, Steve Rinaldi, and Chairman Robert Joya for their years of hard work and devotion to start the development of our waterfront. I wish them the very best in all their future endeavors. I look forward to partnering with our new president, Mark Wendell, and the ECHDC talented staff and board. Together, we can reinvent our waterfront from an industry dynasty to one of public accessibility and enjoyment for our families. You can be certain I will continue to work very hard to lead our corporation to develop more waterfront plans so generations to come will enjoy this remarkable natural asset. Thank you for this tremendous opportunity. I'm very grateful for your support. I won't let you down. Now, I'd like to call Mark Wendell to present the president's report. I'd like to state for the record that this item is being presented for our information only, and no vote will be required. Mark, please begin. Get ready.
Thank you, Joan. I thought it'd be a good opportunity with having new board members, and way some of the projects are wrapping up at both Canal side and the Outer Harbor. It'd be a good opportunity to go through what has been completed to date and what we look forward to planning in the future. So we'll talk about Canal side first. Right now, when people talk about Canal side, they typically think about the boardwalk area, the lawn area. But as far as our governing area, it's this land within the red boundary is Canal side, our oversight. We have zoning overrides for all the other projects that are taking place. Property within this boundary is owned by various private entities. The state owns all this North Odd Block. The city of Buffalo owns property down here, and BMHA owns this parking lot, and then the DOT owns the property underneath the Skyway. So we have a lot of work that has been completed. Harbor Center, one Canal side, which houses Phillips Lytle, and the Children's Museum, as well as the Long Shed and the Carousel, which is down at this corner. So, this is, when people talk about canal sites, our recreated canals, the rink activity, which we are now getting in the process of getting that transformed from water to ice, and the weather hopefully will actually stay, although we have chillers that will take place to keep that ice cold. Right below Explore More. Explore More has been very successful. Little numbers on that. This past summer, their attendance has reached and exceeded pre-pandemic levels. They're averaging 1,200 visitors a day at Explore Mart. They are just reopened this week. They're shut down for a few minutes, for a few weeks, I should say, to update the queuing area in the lobby, as well as there's a new exhibit on one of the upper floors in this area. And then here's some renderings. This is what it looks like. These are some of the design renderings that went through and taking place to see the transition. And it's kind of a relationship with the canal. The Longshed building, if you haven't been there, that's up on the boardwalk. It was designed to reflect the warehouse that was sitting there at the at the terminus of the Erie Canal back in the 1800s. The inside has been utilized by Buffalo Maritime Center, and that's actually what it looked like before the boat started construction. As you can see, we have a nice, very large, clear hall that can be utilized in very flexible space. But right now, Maritime Center is working on completing their packet boat, the Seneca Chief. I was able to attend their whiskey plank event a couple weekends ago for the last board to be installed on the front of the hall right there. And they intend to have this boat out in May. It will then be put in the water. They will do some test tours, and the plan is during the bicentennial to take it up and down the canal and all the way down to the Hudson. And I'll talk a little bit more about bicentennial, but so once the boat gets out though, we'll have this, as I said, we'll have this great open hall. The next transition of the utilization of this is a bicentennial experience. 2025 is the 200-year anniversary of the Erie Canal. We're currently working with designers for exhibits to be utilized, and they're usually they're New York City designers, but they're utilizing Hadley exhibits locally to help create these exhibits. I think it's going to be a wonderful attraction for our, and they're creating exhibits for both interior and that's going to connect the waterways on the outside, creating a path and telling stories. So we're just getting to that process. At the other end of the boardwalk is the Buffalo Heritage Carousel. This building was a joint venture with the Buffalo Heritage Carousel Foundation, as well as Erie Canal Harbor Center and Key Bank to construct the building. There's been some government grants to help restore the carousel that's inside there. It's been an attraction at the southern end of our carousel, at the boardwalk, and it's been frequented. And we're working on trying to help sustain the numbers we currently have. It's $1 a ride if you're interested. It's been, it's a historic carousel that they found in a garage in Ohio that they were able to fully restore and utilize this. The project, if you're driving by Canal side right now, you see two masonry stair towers erected and steel starting going up, and that is Heritage Point. That is a development by Sinatra and Company. It is going to be 6 stories, predominantly apartments. This larger building it's 2 buildings. There will be canal access through the buildings down here to the lower level. This floor will be office space, and the lower levels on both buildings will be, last I talked to them, a little bit more commercial restaurants, like a food hall concept will be utilized there. And then the rest, there's about 60 apartments between these 2 buildings. This is what it would look like at the towpath level. They look forward to utilizing some of the towpath space to engage that, bringing out some of the food concepts here, and possibly our skate rental for the canals might be shifted over here, because as further development goes in North All Block, our pavilion will go away and we need some more permanent area for skate rental. And then the North All Block is something that we're pursuing to work. There's building 2 in this plan is called the Gateway Building. It's actually currently under construction. It'll be a state-owned building. The offices of Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation will be placed over there, as well as our conference room. So future meetings in 2025 at least will be held in that building. On the first floor will also be visitor experience. We're talking with Visit Buffalo Niagara about having a presence there for people to come and visit the Canal side. The remainder of the site, and this was what was a proposed plan from a design consultant, but we do have a preferred developer for the North Autumn block to create a multi-building development. Their name is Penrose and M Squared, two developers out of New York and New Jersey. They also are the awarded developer for the Perry projects, so they have other projects in Western New York taking place. Again, this is the large hole that has been sitting there for a while since the audit was taken down. This is a rendering of what the Gateway building will look like if you're familiar with the location. Shark Girl used to be at this end of the commercial bridge. She is now, if we go back, she's now located more. We shifted her over here while construction's going on. Oops, too fast. So we'll have the entry here. We'll have 3 floors, and we will have public access at the towpath level, and that will be taken. We're bringing public restrooms to them. We've in Canal side and the Outer Harbor, we've had a lot of temporary facilities put up. But as we've been, each project, we're trying to bring more permanent public amenities. So there'll be 2 public bathrooms on the lower level, as well as 2 public bathrooms on the first floor for our visitors in Canal side. And this would be the street presence if you had commercial Pearl this way. So it's a 3-story building along the street. This is the proposed rendering that we got with the proposal for the North Auburn. As you can see, this is the Gibson kind of height. This is Explore More right here. They're keeping their buildings along the canal. This is our Gateway building right here. They're keeping the canal buildings at a lower level and possibly a 12-story structure near the 90. This is what they envision from ice level, what that would look like. They're still working through designs. Actually, we're still working through our final developer agreement, but they are the preferred developer, and we are hoping to have that wrapped up before the end of the year. And again, this is a view from if you're on Main Street, looking back towards the canal. I think this developer did a great job. You can kind of see a little bit in here. They want to bring landscaping in here. They want to create public space. It's multiple building, for pedestrian experience in here, trying to create more of a pedestrian level experience besides being able to have these apartments. Right now, they have a plan to bring in 367 apartments. All the first floor area will be commercial, retail. They're working with Westminster Development Initiative for some local connections, but also bringing their knowledge of regional and national restaurant and stores. It will also have, what we don't see supporting these buildings is a 400 capacity parking garage that will be utilized for the tenants, but also have about 100 parking spaces available for the public. So again, we've been working with them as every effort they have to develop this program to kind of make sure that we have some public. So that fills up a lot of space. And you figure like, well, that makes it seems like Canal side's done once we fill the hole. But there are more opportunities for us as we go. So there is a parcel right here called 2 Canal side. Our developer, Benderson, who did 1 Canal side, has the rights to that. We're still working through some land transfer issues, but once that happens, Benderson is very much interested in building another second building at this location. The lawn parcels underneath the Skyway are, as I mentioned earlier, are owned by the city of Buffalo. We currently, HTC currently maintains the property. We maintain the boardwalk area, the landscaping, the lawns, the ruins. That agreement will be coming up in March 2024. But in discussions with the Office of Strategic Planning and our own desire, we do see the potential for these lawns to be developed, whether it's, I know the city of Buffalo had interest in putting out these larger parcels. The Skyway remains, so they would probably be divided into two parcels on each side. But that is a future thing that we continue to have discussions with the city of Buffalo. I also make note that the BMHA project that is moving forward, they're putting in, that's a $400 million development project, multi-phase, that will eventually see the improvement of these projects. They will start construction on the surface parking lots. They'll build 3 buildings there. And then that'll allow for tenants located in these housing units to transfer into the new housing. This will be phase 2. They'll move these tenants into here, and then they'll build phase 3 back in this corner. And they will introduce a new cross street that will go from Erie Boulevard through to Marine Drive. Each phase in the BMHA project is providing parking structure. And all the parking on their newly created streets will be public. So again, we're increasing more public parking in the area for our visitors, as well as to our visitors that go to not just Canal side, but the Naval Park and the Marina. So I tend to do a lot of talking. Let me just, before I move on to the Outer Harbor, any questions about the Canal side projects we've completed or or you can interrupt me as I go on.
Well, it's really
Exciting, isn't it?
yes.
So the Outer Harbor, this is a great picture. This kind of gives you a depth. Canal side is right up here. It's very much smaller. It's only about in area. Canal side is about maybe 8 acres, I believe. The land we control out at the Outer Harbor is 210 acres. Everything from the Terminal A complex all the way up to this point. And we do actually manage the first Buffalo River Marina as well. So we have these pockets of projects I'll point out in the future, but at Terminal B, this is our bike park that was opened up in 2019, Bell Slip. And this is Michigan Pier as well. So the bike park, as I mentioned, this opened up in 2019, has been very well utilized since it's been open. It offers 3 different, rural or, mountain bike courses with different obstacles, as well as a skills course in the front. And this thing, they call it pump track. It's just very, circles that will give you the momentum once you get in and out of the circles. We've since added RC park, a crawler park with some stone, very well utilized by that group on the weekend. So we're getting a lot of activity down on these limited acres. The other part that was created with the bike park, this large area back here, I'll just scroll back, you can see this circle right here. This is what we call our Great Lawn for that project. To date, we've been utilized for a lot of cultural events, as well as some performances. And here's just some of the thing, utilized. We had some, a little bit of, I think there was a race one weekend, utilized the park. This is our Terminal B event center. This is what it looked like before we started construction. It was an enclosed cold storage warehouse facility. It's 1,000 square feet, right on the water's edge. And it's adjacent to our Great Lawn.
How many square feet?
Sorry, 100,000. 100,000. Yeah, 100,000 square feet. Thank you. So the proposed project, this is the rendering that we had, was to take down the skin of the building, put in a permanent stage, put in some sloped lawn areas, really, and tie and connect it back to what we've already developed with our Great Lawn. As you can see, we do have a path connection in here, but what's missing here is that there's been a fence that was installed around this area. This has been off to the public for minimum 15 years. We just used it for some cold storage, but it's also needed some remediation. So we were able to take care of the lawn. This is very close to completion. We're at this point, about 95% complete with the project. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility if we're just not event, but just for public utilization. Our operator has come up with a lot of ideas. Our staff has been coming up with a lot of ideas that will allow us to both use the stage as well as this 100,000 flat surface on the back it could be for whether it's cultural events, boat shows, skating, roller skating there's a lot of surface area that we can utilize.
Is it covered or it's?
It is
all
not
open?
covered, it's all open. The only covered portion is the stage.
Will that remain uncovered?
It will remain at this point, uncovered. There's some future projects I'll talk to you about adding some other amenities back here, but right now this is kind of the first phase as we work with our allocated budget. And this is a shot right from our soundstage area. We have two areas, this area and this lawn, that's AstroTurf. That's why it looks so nice and green. Because for our performances, that allow for standing, chairs and everything before our slope lawn. We do have a catwalk system up in here that provides some flexibility for different performances, whether it's it's dancing or vocals or anything, so we can have some lighting brought into the rigging utilized. What also is that there's 3 pull down garage doors that are there that give a backdrop to a performance, but that again, when we talked about this design to give flexibility to the space, it also creates a backdrop. So if you want to have something on the backside and more closer to the water, you can have a smaller stage back there, and that kind of creates a focal point. This box right here is our green room for performers, and then it's just our mechanical area. The lawn seats about 5,000 to 6,000 people. And if I just roll back to the rendering, so this area will seat about 5,000 to 6,000 people. It's a number we feel comfortable. We've tested out when we've had the performances in the Great Lawn. It's something that the Buffalo Police feel comfortable about with traffic, and it seems that we've hit our stride in that aspect of parking and getting people in and out to the performance area.
Do you have restrooms there now, or you bring in restrooms for events?
For events, we have to bring in porta potties. There's so much that.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah. But it is something.
Did you put some in with the band?
For the bands.
For the bands.
Yes, for the bands, but not for the public. Not yet. That's on the future list. The next project, I'll get to the future. The next project we currently have under construction is at Bell Slip. So just down the street. And what that is providing is that's actually a public restroom building, as well as building an overlook deck really right on the water's edge at Bell Slip right here. And creating some improved parking that was it's more stone, but we're putting some EV chargers there. We have designated handicap spots there. But we'll have, like I said, 4 public restrooms, a storage room, and about a 20 by 30 overlook deck, as well as a 20 by 30 concrete on the backside. We do get some requests for kind of a nature, training or classrooms for field trips. So both those 20 by 30 is a typical classroom size. So we've coordinated that with that design. So classroom could be out there for instruction. This is one of the renderings, our overlook deck. The roof is a little different if you go out there, but it's an early rendering, but this is our building. We have, again, some wooded paths, and we have a bike trail, and then we have a pedestrian path that will take you down to the overlook deck. A lot of landscaping area as well, trying to restore some of the habitat, again, that has been lost over the last years, but really trying to improve and creating these like seating moments more closer to the water. All the projects on the waterfront are trying to get better access for the public to get to the waterfront experience. Wilkinson Point is a project that will be starting next week. As you can see in this image, we have a variety of little huts. We actually do limited food service out of this one right here. We have 2 volleyball courts, and one thing I'll point out on this image is this is our parking. So the way you come in, you drive in and you park here, but then our bike and pedestrian traffic go right through that. So part of this project is cleaning this up. I don't have a plan for it, but we're going to bring the parking closer to where events mostly take place, and we're going to push the public pedestrian and bike path along the water's edge. So they're separated. We don't have any kind of that conflict and overlap. We're building a permanent structure right here that will offer a wider food and beverage experience, as well as public restrooms. Again, about 4 more additional public restrooms will be here. The kayak launch will remain. The volleyball courts will remain. But, this is the beach area. People like to go take their drinks and sit in the beach area, but it's kind of outside our service area. So we're going to bring the beach to them in this project. We're going to create a beach seating area adjacent to our new structure, so they can eat and drink near the building in a safe area. We're also, as we're trying to increase options on the Outer Harbor, there's a thing called Park Golf. We have a course in Akron. We're looking at putting 9 holes. It's think of it as more of supersized mini golf than shrunken regular golf. It's a 1 club kind of use. But we have the only US course in Akron, and we're thinking about that'd be some enjoyment here on the Outer Harbor. But this is a sense of what, again, our building that we'll have designed. Again, public restrooms. It's going to be some storage that we need for our facilities, maintenance staff, as well as for food and beverage. And this is what the backside of it will look like. Again, we have some deck seating. This is the sand area. We'll have a variety of options, stone options in the contained area, and there's some more deck seating around closer to the building. This is the restroom portion of it. And like I said, that should start next week and be complete by the end of next year. So obviously we have a lot more land at the Outer Harbor than we do at Canal side. So some of the projects that we're looking to have brought forward in the next step here is, currently at Terminal B, yes, we're creating this great event space, but storm damage is a real thing, out here with the stations we have, and we have to improve this area behind here, the strip of land. So when this project opens up, we do have to maintain a fence right there until we can ensure that the space behind the building is safe for public access, put in a proper guardrail that will withstand the weather elements and surface here, as well as we need to improve the parking area for the event attendees and create another means of access into the parking area. The hope, this is our Terminal A structure. We did put an RFP for potential developers out last year. We got 0 responses, but we have been receiving some interest of late, and hopefully we'll have that transferred to a developer in the near future. When we do that, that will separate this parcel, and this area of land would be transferred to the developer, and we would maintain control basically from this line north. So again, one of the projects we're looking at is improving access to the parking lot, and improving the parking lot, and really improving the water side access for the public to witness. We do have a grouping of trees, cottonwood, in this area. Again, building off of what we're establishing at Bell Slip with our new amenity building in the walk, we would like to bring in more of a nature trail boardwalk thing that would take people, besides the asphalt on the perimeter, but take people into finding moments within the landscape that exists. And really connect into, the more of the perimeter trail, but really find those kind of isolated moments for the public within our established landscaping in there. And that would be started at this queuing area, at Bell Slip. And then up here at Michigan Pier has also been closed off, similar to Terminal B, has been closed off to the public for at least 15 years. We would greatly like to take the fence down here and build off of the pedestrian path and bicycle paths and bring people out to the end of Michigan Pier, as well as really improve the perimeter of Slip 2. This is, mention, we are doing a cruise ship study to bring cruise ships, Great Lake cruise ships to Western New York. This is one of the locations that we are considering. This slip is 1,000 feet long, and the largest cruise ship right out there right now in the Great Lakes is 667 feet long. So it would fit fine in this slip. But really, it's about also bringing this complete edge to the public. Because we will also hope to maybe add in some transient boat docks as well. That's something that the public has been asking for a while. Is how can we dock out here since there's no boat docks? Slip 2 would be a great location. Slip 3 is another project I should have put on here that's getting started next week. We have a joint project venture with the Army Corps of Engineers. They are building a break wall at the end of this Slip 3. And for the next 10 years, when the Buffalo River gets dredged, the dredge material will be going behind the break wall, shallowing up Slip 3. They have designs to create different underwater habitats in hope of creating fish hatcheries in the area. We'll still have the kayak launch. There'll be a weir that will be for small craft and can get in there. But that will be a project. The wall will be complete in the spring of 2024, and the first dredge material will be placed in the fall of 2024. And it's every 2 years of a dredge cycle will be placed there. That's why I was, the meeting schedules for those. We talk about 2032 as our schedule for completion of all the materials there, but that will be that is a major undertaking by our local Army Corps project. And another project we're looking to do is at our marina. Our marina, for the most part, has been private to our slip holders. We have about 150 slips there. Dale's Marine Service has been our operator. He's done a great job with cleaning up the site since he took control about 4 years ago, removing some of our ghost ships that have been sitting there, dry docked. But we think there's an opportunity to, now that he's cleaned up a lot of the space, we think there's a great opportunity now to utilize the one launch at the end here as a public launch. And again, trying to bring public access to the water that wasn't there before. And so we're pursuing, we'd like to pursue that opportunity, not to maybe even our boat ferry docks here, maybe bring the boat ferry down so they're right across from Wilkeston Point. But that's a project that we're trying to develop and trying to work with our operator as they've been creating, as I said, more open space now that we have been able to clean up the boats that have been abandoned there over the last couple of years. And to something to talk about earlier, Leslie brought up about Terminal B. We do have a phase 2 plan for Terminal B. It was actually designed together, but budget-wise, we had to hold off. There is a plan to put a building within that structure that would provide public bathrooms, storage for us. That's whenever we're doing a project, it's public amenities and our facility staff needs storage for a lot of things that we need to maintain. And so we hope down the future to revisit that option of putting in that structure. To date, as an agency, we spent approximately $180 million at both Canal side and the Outer Harbor. These are the costs of some of the recent projects that were completed. $9 million for Explore More, the core and shell building. The Longshed building was $5.5 million. Terminal B will end up being a $13 million project. Bell Slip is a $5 million improvement project, and Wilkeston Point, with the bids that came in, will be a $12 million project. And as we are continuing to add and increase the amenities on both sites, we have to also maintain those sites. So we have current operation and maintenance expenditure about $2.8 million a year. That's everything mowing the lawn. We have projects that work on the shoreline walls for the shoreline damage, maintaining the landscape, keeping the chillers running for the ice rinks, so the mechanical aspects of it, as well as the lawn maintenance of it, and as well as utilities, lighting, electric service, making sure the lights go on is something that is included in this budget. So, we want to keep on providing what that gives you kind of what our cost is for all the projects we brought on. But the public feedback so far is that the public's been enjoying what we've been providing today. Besides the structure and the maintenance and everything, these are some of the things we have to look forward to in 2025. As I mentioned, the bicentennial will be a year, if not, at least a summer-long event. We are kind of the home base for the activities. being that we're at the terminus here, we plan on having multiple vendors, local performers throughout the summer, springtime, telling the story of the canal through whether it's song or there'll be bike tours, spoken word, to complement the permanent or the exhibits we're putting in the Longshed and along the waterfront. So that will culminate our bicentennial summit celebration will culminate with the World Canals Conference that will be in Buffalo at the end of September. That is approximately about 500 attendees, 2/3 domestic, 1/3 international. The 2024 World Canals Conference in Poland. There will be a Buffalo contingent there helping to promote our event for the following year. So we're very excited about that. The World Canals Conference is being worked in collaborative with us, as well as the Canal Corp and the Erie Canalway Heritage Corporation. And then there is also going to be a lot of maritime happening in September. We have a National Maritime Historical Society having their regional, I think, group meeting in Buffalo, New York in September. So everything on the water is leading to Buffalo in 2025. And we're very excited about being able to host all these events in the canal side area. So that is kind of where we are, where we hope to be. And I think as we move forward, this is more of a bigger picture. And I think moving forward, as we talk about more specific projects, we'll be able to have a meeting and discuss that forward as we move forward. We're looking forward to wrapping up construction. I know the public is as well. We've done a lot of fences at the Outer Harbor, preventing dog walkers, which is my primary phone calls is dog walkers. And, we'll be taking fences down, so we're looking forward to that. We'll be able to catch our breath and really start planning the next phase of work out there.
I'd just like to add a few things. This is exciting. And, I'll tell you, we are right at the forefront of seeing all these things come together. And I would be remiss to, if I didn't point out that there are two other projects that are ongoing right now that are adjacent to these properties, that I think are going to complement them as well. And one is the Buffalo State Harbor Park. The governor has proposed, and you'll see bulldozers there very shortly, a splash pad there with a large buffalo sculpture. And the sculpture is made out of little pieces of stainless steels of the birds that frequent our waterfront. So it's going to be very artsy. As you see the sculptures along a lot of our project. So and we're also adding row houses of restaurants, like little cottage row houses. I don't know if anybody's been at the Dunkirk. Sure, that's exactly what we're looking for. So,
and where is this located adjacent to?
It was over.
Outside?
It's if you follow my cursor, it's Outer Harbor. It's Buffalo Harbor State Park. It's just.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, the boat harbor is there as well.
Right,
so we're bringing more restaurants in that area. We're hoping to work with 43 North on maybe some creative restaurants contests that we could probably utilize. Was the thought process at the table when we were developing this. But also, I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the Sail Park. That playground there that's being funded by Ralph C. Wilson Foundation. So a lot of wonderful family activities are going to be coming into play, not only of our nature preserves, our concerts, and any business activities. So we have a lot of work to do, but I think you can see we can make this a very special place. And I thank you all again for joining on this endeavor. This is incredible, and for the work you do, Mark, and your committee.
Yeah.
If I could add just another project, if we go back to that.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I stopped too.
One other project just for the new board members, situational awareness. Just to the north of the Outer Harbor is Times Beach Nature Preserve.
Yes,
that up
right
there, yeah. So that nature preserve is owned by the city of Buffalo. The Erie County handles most of the operation and maintenance of the trails, the boardwalk system there. We did a lot of ecological restoration, invasive species removal there. There's been some damage from recent storm damage, seiches, partly because there's a break wall at the outer part that is failing. The Corps of Engineers never finished it.
Right here, right?
Yeah, you can't quite see it there, but, the Corps has been trying to find a way to fix that. So that is an issue, but the county is just finishing up a study now of the, like a resilience study. They're looking at what can be done out there, given the fact that there is some storm damage there and high water levels in the winter. How can we restore those boardwalks? Where to put them so they just don't get washed away again. But it would be great if we could somehow connect, your nature trails and preserves to that.
Yeah.
So that people can get down. Right now it's closed off.
Yes.
Because the trails are not safe.
I get calls about that.
Yeah. And we'd love to find a way that it could be all opened up and coordinated with, the rest of the work that's being done on the waterfront. That's just a kind of natural extension. So I just want to put that out there for the new board members. Hopefully we talk more about that going forward. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Mark. So if there's nothing further ado, our next meeting is tentatively scheduled to be held on Monday, November 13th, and we'll be in touch with everyone to confirm. There being no further business today, we'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All right. And I want to thank everyone for your participation today. And I'm very excited what's on our plate here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
I'm impressive.
Oh.
Exciting.
Isn't it
Thanks,
something, Sam?
It really
Yeah.
is.
Thank you.